Here's a passive income idea you haven't thought of. Just take a chair and sit passively. Once the car comes, just claim on the insurance. So passive income has become a little bit of a joke. Every fake guru on the internet has gone crazy with the idea and is trying to sell you some expensive course on how you can earn thousands with virtually no effort. In fact, I have a feeling that you watched an advert before this video with exactly that, right? I have no course to sell you. In fact, I have nothing at all to sell you. No course, no ebook, no newsletter, absolutely nothing. I'm just here to tell you that most of what you've heard about passive income is unfortunately nonsense. But there are actually some passive income ideas which are legitimate and can earn you decent money. In fact, many of these ideas in this video, I'm trying to build myself at the moment, as these are some of the best steps that you can take to get from where you are in your life financially today to where you want to be. So in this video, I want to share with you an honest take on passive income and give you some strategies you can use to get started even if you don't have much money. With honesty in mind, I want to set your expectations early. If you don't have much money to start your journey with, I'm afraid to tell you that you're not going to suddenly be making hundreds of millions of dollars starting with just 250. I mean, I think you already know that really, but maybe these fake gurus have skewed a few of your expectations. The goal is to just get started and enjoy watching your money grow over time. If you deposit $250 into something and you earn an extra $50 with little to no effort, that can be such a great feeling. And then you'll have an extra $50 to invest and grow your money even faster. Trust me, compounding your money and watching it grow passively is one of the best feelings out there, and it will get you started on your journey. So there are two types of passive income ideas that we're going to discuss. The first is where you put money in up front and your money works hard to earn you more money. The second is where you put in your time and your effort in up front. With this method, you don't even need a single penny to get started. You just put in time and effort and you build something which earns you passive income over time. So let's kick it off with putting money in up front, and then we'll discuss the zero money options later in this video. By the way, if you enjoy the no hype, no nonsense, honest approach, make sure you smash the like button, because if you do, it will help more people to see this video and hopefully help them to avoid some of those fake gurus spouting absolute nonsense. So the first passive income method is real estate investing. And I know what you're thinking.
Real estate with just $250? Are you crazy?
Well, there is actually a way to get into real estate with just this amount and even less. You can buy something known as a REIT, and that stands for a real estate investment trust. I'll explain how it works. So let's imagine you're chatting with your 4 best friends. You each have $10,000 and you all want to buy some real estate. But sadly, you need a minimum of $25,000 per property, so none of you by yourself can afford to buy one. Then you have this genius idea. Why don't you team up and buy the property between you? In fact, as you have 50 grand and it's only 25,000 per property, you can buy 2 properties. You can buy one in an up and coming part of town, and you can buy another one in a more established area. That way, if one area doesn't do so well, you've hedged your bets through buying in the other part of town too. You go to the bank and you get the money sorted. But then you realize that none of you really know how to pick property well enough. And you can't be bothered to handle tenants, collecting payments, fixing things, etc. So instead, you decide to bring in a professional. You and your friends, you give your money to that professional in a combined pot, and he runs everything for you. Each month, he pays you what the tenants pay him, and if the properties increase in value over time, your investment rises too. So that is essentially what a REIT is. A large investment pot is used by a team of professionals to buy property. If you invest into this pot, you earn money as the properties increase in value, and you earn money as the tenants make their payments. What's interesting about this too is that REITs are usually divided up into shares, and these shares, they trade on the stock market. So essentially, using an app like Robinhood or Webull, you can invest into property with very low fees, and you can invest with just a few dollars in your account. For example, the Vanguard Real Estate Index Fund ETF can be bought on the stock market. As we can see, the value of the properties has generally trended upwards over time, And the 4.5% dividend yield means that a $250 investment should return just over $11 each year. And that's before we account for the properties increasing in value too. If you're looking for an American focus, the Crown Castle International, the second largest REIT in the stock market, is heavily focused on the USA. They offer a 3.33% dividend alongside, again, the growth in the value of the properties. But what about the pros and the cons versus regular real estate investing? When you buy into a REIT, you're not just buying a portion of one property. Often you're buying a portion of hundreds or thousands of different properties. Therefore, with just a few dollars, you can begin building a well-diversified portfolio of real estate. Whereas with regular real estate, on the other hand, you often need to save up for a long time to just buy one property in one location. REITs are traded on the stock market, and there are usually many people waiting to buy or sell shares. As a result, you can buy or sell usually in a matter of minutes. Regular real estate usually involves a long, extensive process if you want to get in or if you want to get out. With REITs, you don't require any expertise in real estate, as a professional manages all of that for you. You also share costs such as land surveys, stamp duty, etc. between every single investor, which minimizes the cost per investor. In fact, minimizing the upfront cost is so powerful that it gives investors a head start of up to 4% when compared with buying an individual property for yourself. For this reason, investing in a REIT often outperforms individual investors buying a single property. In fact, one of these REITs, the Vanguard REIT from earlier, remarkably offered investors a 4 times higher return than the stock market between the years of 1997 and 2016. However, of course, there are advantages to buying real estate yourself. If you know what you're doing, you can buy a property for cheaper than it's really worth and instantly make 5 to 10% on your money. If you know how to renovate a house, you can improve how the house looks and add even more value to it very quickly. And there are also tax advantages associated with owning your own real estate. All in all though, REITs allow us investors to buy a small chunk of many properties with a very low barrier to entry, and we can earn passive income as the properties grow in value and the tenants make their monthly payments. The second passive income idea is index investing. So Warren Buffett, the world's most famous investor, once described buying an American index as like buying a slice of America. This is such a lovely way to understand what an index is. So imagine one day you heard about the stock market and you thought it's a good thing to invest into. But you're there thinking to yourself,
I just don't know enough to pick the right stocks. Can't I just bet on the overall market going up? That'll be so much easier.
Well, enter index investing. An index contains all of the largest companies from a country. So when you invest into that index, you're buying a small portion of each of that country's largest companies. You're not trying to pick the winners or the losers, you're just betting that the overall market is trending upwards. For example, if we take the S&P 500, it is made up of America's 500 largest companies. So when you buy it, you're buying a small portion of each of these companies. Because things are weighted based on size, you'll be buying slightly more of the companies at the top like Apple and Amazon, and slightly less of the smaller companies. Now, I know what you might be thinking.
What if some of those companies perform badly? Isn't it better to give my money to someone who picks out the best companies and ignores the rubbish ones?
Well, for years, this was how many people used to think. However, as more and more studies have been published, comparing index investing with giving your money to a fund manager, the data nearly always indicates that index investing is actually more profitable in the long run. So this study from Vanguard found that in a 10-year window ending in June 30th, 2020, 180 of their 205 funds, most of which were index funds, had outperformed other funds. I know, it sounds counterintuitive. Surely an expert in the field would be better than just randomly picking the top 500 companies, right? But there are 2 reasons that index investing usually performs better. Number 1, with an index fund, there's nobody picking the companies, which means the fees are much lower than if you had to pay a fund manager. The fund manager's fees will cut into your profits over time, and they're going to lower your returns. And number 2, picking the right stocks in such a competitive market is so difficult that there are very few investors in the world who can actually do it successfully. So if you want to invest in America's 500 largest companies, you can look at the SPDR S&P 500 ETF. It offers a dividend of 1.62% per year, but the real passive income comes from the value of companies rising over time. On average, this index has risen by 8% per year since 1957. If you want to focus your investments more on technology, we have another index. This one is called the Nasdaq Composite. It consists of around 3,300 companies focused on technology. While these companies don't generally offer a dividend, the return for investors over the past decade has been much higher as tech companies have grown quickly. Over the past decade, this index has grown an average of 16.3% per year and is our highest return so far. Now, at this point, I want to make something really clear. Any investment that can go up, of course, can also go down. I'm a huge fan of technology, and I think this technology index, it might perform better in the next decade than other indexes. However, there's a reason I'm always talking about buying a little bit of all of these investment types, and that's because we can't just predict what's going to happen tomorrow based off what happened yesterday. So please do bear that in mind. The third passive income source is dividend investing. So imagine you have a company, let's call it Heavy's Heavy Goods Company. Terrible name, but just go with me here. In a year, we sell $1 million worth of goods, and we only spent $800,000 on making them. With the leftover $200,000, I have two options. I can either keep this money and reinvest it into the company, or I can give it back to the people who invested in my company and believed in me. If I choose to give the leftover profits back to investors, that's a dividend. So a dividend is basically just leftover profits which the company gives back to investors every 3 months. So dividend investing is just picking the types of companies that pay dividends. With dividend investing, you make money in two ways. Number one, you make money when the company pays you a dividend, a nice little cash payment every few months. And number two, you make money if the company's shares rise in value. Now, I know what you're thinking.
But Tom, I don't have enough time or knowledge to pick the individual companies in the market. Have you forgotten from earlier?
Well, no, because you don't have to. Remember earlier how we had an index which included lots of companies? Well, if you invest into the Dow Jones US Select Dividend Index, you can buy a small piece in 100 of America's top dividend-paying companies such as Pfizer, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and 3M. There's often a debate between index investing and dividend investing, and it's not my place to say which is better, because that is 100% your personal choice and your call. But to help you out, I am just going to offer my personal opinion, which is that I personally prefer index investing, and that's for two reasons. Number one, index investing historically has offered higher returns as it's more tax efficient. And number two, I'm a big fan of tech companies, and dividend investing often doesn't include those tech companies. Now, like I say though, it's not my place to say which is better for you, that's just my personal thoughts. Next we have something a bit different, the Honey Browser plugin. So this is the little button which sits at the top of your browser, and when you go to buy something online, you just click it, and it's going to automatically scan the internet in search of coupon codes to save you money on your purchase. So I know what you might be thinking.
Tom, coupon codes are not passive income.
And I know, technically they might not be. But here's the thing, if you can save $5, it's exactly the same as making $5. Your bank account does not know the difference at the end of the day. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty lazy when it comes to searching for coupon codes online. I kind of know I should do it, but I can't be bothered scrolling through websites that offer dozens of expired codes before I eventually find the one that works. It's just not for me. However, since my girlfriend showed me the Honey plugin, it saved me literally hundreds of pounds, and I just click one button. Something which saves me that much and is just one click. Now, I'd say that's one of the best sources of passive income I've ever made. There's a link in the description so you can add it to your browser too if you want. Just don't start buying things you weren't going to buy anyway just because you can get a discount. That is not going to save you any money. Now, the fifth passive income idea, it's the most cheesy and it's cliche, but it's genuinely the single best investment that you can make, and that is investing into yourself. If you have just $250 to invest, personally, if it was me, I would use that money and I would invest it either into my own education or into my own business. If you can learn a new high-paying skill, you'll earn the benefits from that each and every year for the rest of your life. So speaking of, I have a course for just $250 and I can't even do it. I don't have a course. Like I said at the start, I have nothing to sell you. If you want to start a YouTube channel for just $100, you can buy a good quality microphone, either the Rode mic or the Blue Yeti. And the truth is, audio is much more important than video, and the video quality on your phone is probably good enough already. That alone, that microphone, is going to give you great equipment to get started, and you'll have money left over to invest elsewhere. So those are the passive income ideas, which involve putting in money up front. But as I said at the start of the video, you have two choices. You can either put in money up front to earn passive income, or you can put in the work. You can put in time and effort and build something which is going to generate you money in the long term. So let's talk about some ideas if you have little or maybe even no money to put in up front. The first idea is to start a YouTube channel. And I know, you've heard this everywhere. So let me give you a fresh take that you haven't heard before. Building a YouTube channel is the single best business model in the world. Crazy, I know that sounds crazy, right? But I'll explain. With YouTube, you don't have to put in any money to get started. You can literally just pull out your phone and record it in selfie mode. YouTube is also the most scalable business model in the world. You can go from earning less than $1 per day to earning millions in the space of a few years. Well, if you're Graham Stephan at least you can. It's also easy to scale the number of videos that you make by hiring a video editor. And you don't even need to commit to having a full-time employee. You can just send out some videos to someone a few times a week and hire them on a part-time basis. On YouTube, you don't need to worry about taking out a loan like a regular business does. And you don't need to worry about losing your business if you don't make enough sales each month. In fact, even if you want to start a regular successful company outside of YouTube, building up an audience who will be your first clients is an incredible strategy, which we've seen many creators do in the past, like Casey Neistat. And your channel is going to be the best free marketing source possible for your company. Because YouTube began as just a platform for people to post random videos, I think people to this day still underestimate how unbelievably good the YouTube creator business model can be if you get it right. So I'll tell you honestly, I'm a natural entrepreneur. I mean, I love working for myself, but I'm a horrible communicator and I'm awful on camera. I've spent ages recording this. It's taken hours so far, and I've spent 3 years here on YouTube, and I'm a little bit better than when I started, but I'm still pretty awful. But there isn't another platform like this in the world where I can pursue my passion of teaching people like you about finance and investing. Sure, I could write a blog, but written words just don't give me that same kind of communication and connection with you as this does here. So if you want to work for yourself, have a proper think about YouTube. There are some ups and downs along the way, and I'm not going to say that's not true, but it's an incredible opportunity and it's still so early, despite what anyone might tell you. Plus, while YouTube is a lot of work up front, you can actually earn money passively from your old videos as you create more and more. So this video I made about Ray Dalio, for example, was released earlier this year on July 3rd. In the last 28 days, it has earned me £63. And I know, £63 isn't much, but I'm a small YouTuber, so for me, this is pretty great. And this is still £63 from work that I did months ago. Another idea is cross-platform income. So what exactly do I mean by this? Well, we all know that YouTubers can make decent money, as can Instagram influencers and even TikTok creators. Now that TikTok have launched their $1 billion creator fund. But there's a passive element to this too. Let's say you have a YouTube channel and then you launch a TikTok account. Each time you grow on one platform, let your audience know that you have an account on the other. Every time you create a video on TikTok, you'll earn some money through your active work on the platform, but you'll also passively earn more money on your YouTube channel as your audience carries over from the TikTok videos. Getting started on passive income with just a small amount of money to begin with isn't something which is going to make you rich overnight, despite what some people on the internet might be telling you. But getting started is how you build the habits and the excitement, which can make you rich if you consistently stick with it for many years. I hope that you don't fall victim to these numerous fake gurus on YouTube and other platforms just trying to sell you their course on how you can get rich with basically no effort. If it were possible to get rich with no effort, don't you think we'd all be rich? And even if it is possible in some instances, it's going to be incredibly unlikely to succeed. I mean, the lottery, for example, allows you to get rich with virtually no effort, but I mean, come on, we all know the odds of that actually happening. So every Tuesday and Friday, I release videos just like this, and if you've enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe for more content in the future. Thank you for watching. Okay, I think that's good enough. I'm not doing any more. Yeah, that was embarrassing.